In this video, I'm going to go through an ad account and show you the step-by-step framework I use to audit the ad account and find hidden opportunities within it. So yeah, follow along. It's going to be a step-by-step video. I'm going to show you the whole process of how we do audits. And if you found this video and this audit interesting and you want me to do one for your business, you can click the link in the description of the video to apply to potentially work with us. That being said, my name is Oli. I run Strand Media, performance marketing agency, and we work with e-commerce and info products businesses, helping them scale profitably with ads on Facebook and Instagram. And this YouTube channel is just where I share all the lessons and learnings I have along the way. So if you're looking to improve your results with Facebook ads, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Today I'm going to be auditing an e-commerce business. They have a lot of SKUs, I think more than 9,000 different SKUs. These guys are selling a lot of different baking accessories and stuff like that. So a lot of low ticket, low priced SKUs. So that's the context of the business. And the first thing I do is always just understand what they have running in their ad account. So I like to look at the last 30 days to start off with, just to understand what's been going on recently. Looking further back than that, it's a little bit difficult to understand all the external factors that play into the results in the ad account. So if I want to look longer back in time, I might also need to understand if they've been running, what kind of promotions they've been running, what changes they made to the website during that period, if they were doing any email campaigns or SMS campaigns or anything other than that, because all of those things play into how the results can look in the ads manager. So we definitely want to make sure we make decisions based on accurate data. So in this case, I'm going to look at the last 30 days. So the next thing I want to look at is just to see which of these campaigns are getting the majority of the spend. That is the most important thing. If you have a lot of campaigns, but one of them is getting 90% of the spend, then you should probably be looking at spend 90% of your time looking and digesting that campaign first. So the first thing that I want to do is just see which campaign is getting the most spend. So in this case, we can see that these top two campaigns here are getting 3 times as much spend as the other bottom 3. So these are definitely the ones I want to start looking at. So just to make it a little bit simpler, I'm going to just start looking at these. Now, the first thing now I want to do is understand what type of targeting that's being done here. So instead of going into the ad sets immediately to see what targeting is set up, we want to actually break down the audience segments. So I've been recently using this. If you don't have it here, you could go to demographics and click audience segments. And that way we can actually see where the results are coming from. Is it a new audience, engaged audience, which is basically people that have engaged with your business. So either going onto your website, added to cart or anything like that. And then we have existing customers. So we can see how many sales or results is coming from existing customers. This gives us a better understanding of what work the campaign is actually doing. Is it generating mostly new customers? Is it engaging existing customers, or is it picking up demand from other prospecting channels, maybe with engaged audiences? So that's what we want to look at first. So as we can see here, most of the spend of this top campaign here, this evergreen campaign, is going towards a new audience. We can see 11K in the last 3 days is going to new audience, and just about a little bit more than, let's see here, yeah, about 6K. So 2/3 of this one is going to new audience. So if we look at the ROAS as well, we can see that the ROAS is the lowest for the new audience, but that's the part of the campaign that's doing the prospecting. So this campaign is mostly doing prospecting. And if we look at the other one as well, we have the same thing. So that tells me that these two campaigns are the prospecting campaigns of the account. Now we want to first understand why there's 2 separate campaigns here. Ideally, you would have everything in one campaign and minimize the amount of ad sets you would need to run this, because we want to consolidate the ad account, get more data per variable, per ad set. So why do we need 2 campaigns for prospecting? That's the first question that I ask myself right now. Before I go into the ad sets to look, I want to actually break this down to understand the incrementality factor of these 2 campaigns. So I want to understand if one or the other is much more efficient at generating new customer revenue or incremental customer revenue. So the way to look at that is seeing the difference between the view attribution and the click attribution, because when I saw this campaign, you can see that they're using 7-day click and 1-day view as the attribution. So even if people don't click on the ad, but they buy within 1-day window, it might still get credit for the sale. So I'm doing this to understand where the sales are coming from and what type of attribution they're coming from. So to do that, you can actually go to columns and go to compare attribution settings. And then we want to do 7-day click and 1-day view and then apply. And then we go to the ROAS. Now, as we can see, the ROAS for new audience is 2.09. And this one for new audience is 2.82. Interesting. So the ROAS on 7-day click, which is the most incremental attribution setting, it has the biggest indicator of the need for people within this audience to actually see the ad to convert. So this campaign has a much higher ROAS there. It also has, in general, a higher ROAS for new audience, a 4.95 compared to a 4.29. So quite a lot higher. So my question then is, why are we running this campaign in the first place? What would happen if we took all that budget and spent it on this campaign? Will we be able to continue to scale that? Why are we segmenting? Why are we separating this into another prospecting campaign? So that's the first thing I'm asking myself right now. So let's go in and look at the difference. So this is obviously a catalog campaign. So let's see what's running in here. So as we can see, it's just one ad running here. So just let's look at this ad to see what's going on here. So it's a very simple ad, not a lot of stuff going on, just the product catalog. But I think because this business has so many different SKUs, the ads that are actually optimizing to show the SKU within the product feed that is the most relevant to the potential customer is actually the ad type that is working the most efficiently for this business. So the format is probably the best one. We see it's the most incremental. It's getting the highest new customer 7-day click ROAS by far, much better than all the other campaigns. And that's probably the direction this business should continue to go. Now, I only see one active ad. They've obviously been testing a lot of different ones with the catalog format. What I would like to see them test out more formats. So if they were to use the single image or video format, that basically means that instead of showing like a carousel as it's doing now, it would just show one video or one image of the product that people are most likely to be interested in. What we could also use is the collection format. And I'll show you an example of how we use that for one of our clients. As you can see here, we set up the ad with the catalog for this client, and we have one set image in the top, like before we show the catalog products. And in this case, this image is with the dog because this client is selling dog products. So we just want to make sure the context of the ad is immediately explained. But also we have a review, a customer review that's talking about how amazing the products are to build that initial trust. And then below that, we have the catalog or the product feed integrated. So that means that you can still test out many different creatives while getting the benefits of using the product feed and having that product feed being optimized, understanding what type of SKU the potential customer will be most likely interested in buying. So this is definitely something I would test out for this business. And talking about the collection format, as you can see, this is something that we set up for another one of our clients. And you can see when people actually click on the ad here, they will land on this. It's a collection page of all of the SKUs. And if the potential customer or the user clicks on any of the SKUs in this collection page, which is a page that's built within Meta, they will go directly to the landing page, the product page for that SKU. So it minimizes friction that way. So that's also a great way to minimize that friction from Meta to your landing page, and also trying out different formats if you know that your product feed is performing the best in catalog type ads. So jumping back in the ad account, I would definitely, in this case, I would just totally switch all the focus to the catalog as the top of funnel campaign, this prospecting campaign. And then I would totally just move all the budget that's currently going to this evergreen campaign over to the catalog. When we look inside the evergreen campaign, we can see that they're testing a lot of different kind of creatives that are not integrated with the product feed. So these are static creatives, but it just seems that they aren't able to find winning creatives within this campaign. So I think the reason for that is they're just not doing high quality creative testing. This is a perfect example of why just testing for testing's sake is just wasting money. If you don't have a proper system for understanding what variables to test, what creative elements you need to test and iterate on, then you're probably just going to waste money. Now, it is extremely important to do volume of testing, but if you're doing volume of testing and most of the tests are just failing and you aren't finding winners, then this can be a very bad investment for your business. in that case, you will be way better off just spending all the ad spend on the proven variables that you are able to see work, and it's generating you profitable customers into your business. Now, you might want to have it even more profitable, but in that case, you need to have a good framework for testing. You need to really spend money on quality testing. So what you can do then is, of course, take a percentage of your ad spend and just reinvest it in creative testing. So either find a good graphic designer, find a good video editor, or just hire creative strategist in your team to help you out, or you just spend more time and resources on figuring it out yourself, because all of the tests I can see in this evergreen campaign is just not outperforming anything in the ad account. And looking at the creatives and the videos within the ad account, I can see it's the same stuff they're running organically on their Instagram page. So it's a lot of the same stuff that they're already using organically. Now, the problem here is that what is working organically does not necessarily work as a paid ad. The reason is, when you post something on your Instagram, it's mostly your followers that's going to see it. And they're going to have context to your business and your product, and they're going to have some awareness of your brand. But showing that same video or same creative to somebody that has no context of your business, and they're not even really into shopping right now, they're not in a shopping mood, that is probably not going to convert them. That's why it's so important to have a different framework for how you set up paid ads compared to how you would just make regular organic content. You need to, really have an intriguing hook to actually capture the attention, because when people are on social media, they're just there to be entertained. So if you're not entertaining them with some hook or capturing their attention, they're just going to scroll right past it. Then you need to have building that trust. So you need to have show the product, make sure that you engage the right type of people. And then you need to have a strong incentive and a good call to action to get people onto your actual website to complete the purchase. So in this case, I would just totally disregard this campaign, because they're just reposting organic content from the Instagram and using it as ads, but it's obviously not working as well as the catalog is working. So I would just go all in on the catalog. Now let's have a look at this campaign over here. So let's just filter out everything else to make it a little bit more easy to see. And again, we're looking at the last 30 days. Now let's try to understand why we're even running with this one. As you can see, for the results, we have only 2 purchases for 7-day click, but we have 25 conversions with 1-day view. That is something that I'm always skeptical of. Like, why is this one even still running if it only has 2 website purchases for 7-day click and 25 of view? This one is probably one of those campaigns that are just scooping up credit for sales they shouldn't have, because it didn't really generate the sale. Nobody clicked on the ad. They just saw it, but they might have scrolled past it without even noticing, and it still gets credit, even though it was another campaign or another channel that did the heavy lifting of actually getting them to convert. So let's see what's going on here. So even though it's only 2 purchases in the last 30 days for 7-day click, it still has a 5.98, almost a 6 ROAS for 7-day click, which is crazy. But if we break it down, that means that 2 purchases are responsible for a 5.98 ROAS. And as we can see, it's definitely coming from existing customers, because here is a 14.42 ROAS from existing customers. So also really low spend. So I really think that this one is just scooping up unnecessary credit. As we can see, this is probably one order that has skewed the data totally, because it's such a high value order, probably a B2B order or something that still got into the meta report. And it's just inflating the ROAS numbers, which makes the overall ROAS of the campaign look good. As you can see here, the overall ROAS is at 8.81. But if we break it down, it's really just 2 purchases for a 7-day click. So not really helping out a lot. So I would definitely just totally turn off this campaign, move all the budget that we would use in this campaign onto the top of funnel one, the catalog campaign, because that one is much more incremental as well. And it's also already doing some retargeting. I don't think we need to have this retargeting campaign at all, actually. So if we actually go back and look at the catalog campaign, and then we add the metric for frequency. So you can go to add columns and search up frequency. Then we can see if this campaign is doing retargeting and how much retargeting it's currently doing. So as we can see, it's very obvious this campaign is already doing quite a lot of retargeting. It has a 3.92 frequency. That means that on average within this campaign, the audience within it sees the ad almost 4 times. So that definitely means the campaign is already doing retargeting. And if we break it again down to audience segments, we can see that the engaged audience is already having an amazing ROAS, 8.47, and the existing customers 5.6. So as you can see, it's already doing retargeting, especially existing customers, a frequency of 12.79, and the engaged audience 5.9, so almost a 6 ROAS. So yeah, it's already doing the retargeting. I would just put all the spend in this campaign right here and test out different formats for the catalog format until they potentially have a better setup of getting quality creatives to test out. But even then, they could also test out those creatives with the product feed. Now let's also look at this Halloween campaign. So obviously we're in late October. It's like Halloween theme campaign, and they also have a lot of Halloween type products because they're selling baking products. So a lot of people like to cook muffins and a lot of bakery pastry stuff during Halloween. So it's a great time to have a campaign. And I would do exactly as they're doing, separating this campaign out from all the other stuff to make sure that when you have a time-limited offer or a time-limited campaign that you know you want to turn off after Halloween is over, in this case, you just want to make sure you're not introducing those ads into the evergreen campaign, because that's going to mess up the results. Let's say one of the Halloween ads got really good results, but once you turn them off, all the spend with it in that campaign now have to go back to other ads because you turned it off. And that's going to mess with the algorithm. So I would definitely do the way they're doing here by separating it out. That being said, let's have a look at the budget distribution. Maybe this one should have more spend. So let's go ahead and break it down. So let's start looking at what type of audience this one is going for. So it's pretty evenly spread, but most of the purchases are coming from new audience. Some is going through existing customers and some is going through engaged audience. So as we can see, for the new audience, it has a 3.05 ROAS, which is pretty decent, but we want to make sure we compare that to the other top of funnel campaign. But the ROAS for the middle of funnel and bottom of funnel is definitely okay. So I would continue to run this campaign. It could also become better as we get closer to Halloween. But if we compare it to the new customer audience ROAS for the catalog, we do see that the ROAS there is quite a lot better last 30 days. So it's a 4.95 compared to 3.05. But let's go ahead and break this down by looking at the different attribution settings again to make sure we have a more accurate comparison. So looking at the 7-day click ROAS for the two campaigns, we can see that we actually get a better 7-day click ROAS for the Halloween campaign. And that could indicate that it is more incremental. What I mean there is that this campaign, because it's focused on Halloween and it's focused on products that are relevant for Halloween, it's also good at effectively and efficiently getting the existing customers and the engaged audience back into the web shop to buy. At the same time, it's also pretty efficient, not as efficient as this catalog campaign, but very close to it in terms of getting in new customers into the store. And it could be more efficient over time as we get closer to Halloween. So in this case, I would actually spend more budget on this. As we can see, of the almost 20K that's being spent, only 5K between these two campaigns is going towards this Halloween campaign. So I would definitely, in this case, increase the budget on that one, especially as we're getting closer to Halloween, in case the efficiency gets even better and the opportunity to capitalize on this time period and this sale and this promotion is better. So I would definitely keep that in mind. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is the current setup of the best performing all catalog campaign, because that's where we can get the best bang for our buck in case we can optimize this campaign, because that's where most of the spend is going. Now, inside the campaign, the first thing I see that they have set up wrong is that the performance goal is set up to maximize the number of conversions. When you have an e-commerce business like they do, and when you have so many different SKUs, you want to optimize for the people that complete orders with the highest possible order value. So the reason for that is obviously we want to make sure we optimize and attract more high value customers. And we don't care really how many conversions we get. If we get a lot of low ticket conversions with low margin, then that's going to be overall bad for the business. So we want to actually make sure we optimize for high value orders, because that's going to make the campaigns more profitable. Now, as we can see in this case, it's maximizing for the number of conversions. Now, the ideal setup would be like this. So as you can see on the right side, this is how we have it set up for our clients when they have multiple different SKUs. We're maximizing the value of conversions And we also make sure we put in a ROAS goal, because there's a lot of different SKUs within the campaign and a lot of different price points and margins. We need to make sure that we're optimizing for a target ROAS. We don't want to allow the campaign to continue to spend our budget if we're not hitting that ROAS goal. And depending on your margins and your business setup, the goal would be ideally at your break even or a little bit higher to push Meta. But sometimes you need to go a little bit below break even to allow the campaign to continue to spend. But at the end of the day, you will be way better off having a ROAS goal and pushing Meta to only spend your money if you hit that goal on average. Keep in mind that when you use a ROAS goal, it would look at the 7-day attribution setting, so the 7-day window, to try to average you out over time to hit that goal. So don't look at the day-to-day results. Look at a 7-day window and see if you're hitting that ROAS goal. And if you're not hitting it, you can adjust it a little bit down. And if you are hitting your ROAS goal, but you're not getting the volume of spend you want, you can try to set the goal a little bit down. So instead of a 2 ROAS, you could put it at the 1.9 or 1.8. And that way you would allow the campaign to spend more. Now, the other thing that they have set up that we would not recommend using is the 1-day view attribution. Even though the ROAS overall is going to look worse within the account when you use the 7-day click attribution setting, the overall results for the business is probably going to be better, because the 7-day click is a better optimization signal to send back to the campaign, because it's actually now optimizing for finding people that will likely click on the ad and convert from the ad. If people are just viewing the ad, that is increasing the risk of the marketing efforts on Meta overlapping with other efforts. So either other campaigns within Meta or other channels outside of Meta. So let's say you're doing top of funnel on Google or Snapchat or TikTok. Now the campaign in Meta is going to try to find those people, show them the ad, even though they already are probably going to convert because they saw another one of your ads on another platform. And because they saw the ad, they might not even notice it. They might just scroll right past, and it was just in their feed for like a split second, but the campaign will still get credit for it, and the ROAS in the account is going to look better. But your overall business results are not going to look better, because you actually had to spend on another campaign to get that person to convert, and you also had to spend on Meta, but you didn't really have to spend on Meta because that person was going to convert anyways. This is the whole idea of incrementality. So definitely optimize per 7-day click, and that would be a much better setup for this account. So overall for this account, there's some basic stuff that they can definitely do in terms of budget distribution, minimize the amount of campaigns they have, and stop spending money on unnecessary campaigns. But the biggest lever I think this business can pull is really on the creative side of things. Having more quality creatives. Right now, the best performing ad is just a simple product catalog ad. And there's so much more they can do with all the SKUs they have available. So for this business, the main lever to pull after doing all the easy stuff that I found in this audit is really honing down and finding and developing really quality creatives, finding concepts that work for them, and doing that with the evergreen stuff, but also applying high quality content to the promotional campaigns, such as in this case was the Halloween campaign, to get that working even more effectively. So hopefully you found this video valuable. Again, if you want me to perform an audit for your account, you can apply to work with us with clicking the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.